Well, got this e-bike conversion wrapped up yesterday. The e-bike conversion was actually already wrapped up on, I believe, Thursday, but yesterday I was redoing these bars. The problem was they were too short, and I can show you what I took off. So this is what was on there, and it would have joined about right there. And the other problem was it was straight out and with no curve. So you can see that's adding, I think, probably 7 inches rearward with the handlebar position. And I took it off here and got some DOM 7/8 tubing, threw it through the roll bender, and got these on. So I wrapped that up. It's a much more comfortable position. I test rode the bike with the old bars and now with these, and it was a huge difference. You're kind of limited when you are converting to an e-bike with the twist throttle because of this, your throttle cable right there. You've only got so much into the harness. And of course, this harness, you've got to have so much slack in here for your steering system to go lock to lock without overstretching your cables. So, you've only got so much. So that's what's really the limiting factor with the length of your bar. And anyhow, I went ahead and after a lot of decisions and thinking stuff over, got the battery mounted here and the controller mounted here. And it's the same setup that I ran on now two of my other frames. One being this one. You can see right there, it's the same setup. And then over here on my web custom, if anyone's interested on more details on this bike, there's a video of it on my channel. But you can see it right there. And it's two pieces of 1/2 inch tubing, and then I put one battery plate. This one here is just to support the back end of the battery and put it on the same level of rest as here. Because if you don't put this, that's an 1/8 inch plate. You'll have an 1/8 inch gap under the battery here without this plate. But it's the same setup. And this one, you can see I put it right there. But the biggest issue with that bike is every tube in the frame is curved. Here there was a nice flat place. And here, this bike is so crammed with stuff, there was literally no other space on it for a battery. So that's why that wound up being the way it is. But on this one that I just converted, as you can see, there's not one single flat space, one flat tube in this whole frame. So originally I had talked to him about putting the battery back here, but this tube is still curved the whole way through, so there would have been a space under the battery anyhow. And then the other issue was wiring. If I put the battery back here, the output for the battery cable would have been all the way back here. And if I put the controller up here, I would have had to lengthen the cable and all this other stuff. So it just worked out better like this. So it's got the same support as my other bike, two bike frames. And then the controller's right here. I put an XT60 connector on the battery end. And then, of course, shrink wrapped it all up nice and neat. So it still came out being a really nice, clean install. And then this front wheel. This front wheel, I had to unlace. Let me see here. I had to unlace this wheel, this black one that came with the kit, and put his matching outer red hoop on the hub motor and then relace it. So it came out clean and the whole bike looks great now. I actually like these bars better on it too. I test rode it and it gets up to 20 miles per hour real quick, like nothing. And of course, let me see. Of course, it's got the S830 controller. I went ahead and went in and set it, to from kilometers per hour to miles per hour for him. Got it all set up. And I'm sure it's probably good. These e-bike link kits, I think this is probably the 1200 watt kit. And it's the same one that I've got on here. On this bike, it's good for probably about 28 miles per hour. And this one is probably the same. It's actually, and that's one thing I tell people about these bikes with the big 4-inch wheels, 4-inch wide. You've got so much rotating weight on there. This same power kit on a bike like this with the 1-inch wheels, this bike is actually less power and it'll run 32, 33 miles per hour all day long. But these bikes with the 4-inch wheels, it's just so much rotating weight, so much rubber weight that they're good for about 28 to 30, which is fine. I mean, federal law is limited to 20 miles per hour. I don't think any e-bike builders don't really pay too much attention to that. Ha ha ha. But for the type of riding he does and for the type of riding this bike was made for, it's more than enough. He's not really an aggressive rider anyway, so. Okay guys, for anyone that's just now tuning into this video, there's a prior build video for this bike going into a lot more detail on the bike and everything. That I did prior to this. So look for the build number 1 video on this bike on my channel. And I'll talk to you all later.